you think scarcity mindset is just all about having more money, but in this video, I'm going to be telling you the exact reason why you have scarcity mindset and how to break free from it. And this is coming from someone that has lived a huge part of her life having this mindset. I know you have that mindset too, and that's because even before your cream finishes, you're already thinking of how to keep it so it lasts longer for you. You think you are being frugal with money, but you're only just trying to hoard it all. You're always keeping the very best things you think for the best days of your life. You're keeping your best clothes for weddings, you're keeping your best outfits for the fashionable shows, and you're keeping your best shoes for the day which you finally get to go to the place you have always wanted. But what about if I tell you that these habits are not about being frugal, but have come from a place of scarcity for a long period of time? And even without you realizing it, this habit has formed into a stage whereby it grew up from childhood into your adulthood. Now, even money can't even fix it. And as someone who grew up with a very bad scarcity mindset, and let me put this out here, I was well fed. My parents provided all my needs. But one thing I really lacked growing up was having assurance of the next thing. When every kid went out with their parents, when they always had things easily, I didn't really get that privilege. All those habits over time started accumulating in my brain, and I know that's something that happens with people like us that have this scarcity mindset. That's why even money can't fix this problem. And that's because even when you look at your bank account, when you see the money that's inside, you won't even be able to spend it because everything you want to do for yourself always feels like a guilty pleasure. You feel so much rebuke even when you want to get the basic things for yourself. You always have second thoughts because you didn't have the luxury of having to know when the next thing will come. Every spend always feels like a guilty pleasure to you. Even the most basic things like going to have an haircut, going to make your hair, going to getting outfits, those things seem hard because you have always grew up not getting things done or not getting things so easily. You have that outfit in your wardrobe now, and you have only worn it once to a birthday party, and that was even in your mind. You have had that shoe you have been keeping for so long, but you have not even had the opportunity to wear it, all because you are saving it for just one big day. Most people think scarcity mindset is just about money or not being able to spend, but it comes from a place of lack from a period of time. One thing with our brain is that our brain tends to accumulate habits or things that we have seen over time. Growing up, maybe your parents didn't really get things so easily, or maybe growing up, you heard things like, do you know how hard it was for us to get it? Or maybe even you have asked people for help and you really didn't get the help you needed at the point in time. So you always felt like the ones you had, you didn't want it to ever finish because you didn't have the guarantee or you didn't have the means of getting another one. And it's understandable because I also grew up with this kind of mindset and I totally understand how it feels to grow up with scarcity mindset. Now, this mindset even enters into relationships, into finance. You get so scared to spend money, and even some people may even think that getting enough money or staking up money will even fix this. So what they do is that even when they get to a stage whereby they are more financially capable, they begin to stake money in their bank account, begin to keep money in their wallets, begin to avoid spending on things, always trying to save up. And they may even think they're being frugal, but they are not. And that's because they have always had this place whereby they didn't get things so easily. Any possible way in which they start getting that money inflow, they try to keep it to avoid that situation or that trauma where they always had to conserve the things they have always had, or where they didn't really have the luxury of getting things so easily. If you have this mindset, please watch this video to the end. And in this video, I'll be telling you three things that is helping me come out of this scarcity mindset. Now, just like you learned these things, you can actually also unlearn it. The first thing I started doing was that I started to buy things immediately they finished. Now, as someone that grew up with a very terrible scarcity mindset, I've always had this need to keep things for longer, and that's why your room may be so clustered. You have so many clothes, you have so many things, you don't even know what to throw away and what not to throw away. Your room is so clustered, and that's because you have always had this thing whereby you didn't get things so easily. So you're always trying to conserve the things you have. One thing I said was that I started to buy things that finished immediately. They finished. Like if my cream got finished, I'll start saving up for it even before it got finished. I'll start spending. And I think that actually started to signal to my brain that yes, I can actually get things done. I can actually get things even when they are finished. I can actually replace things. And that's one thing your brain needs to understand, that you can actually replace things because you have grown up with that mindset of, oh, I didn't get this thing so easy, or this is the last piece of this is the last deodorant I got and I don't know when I'm going to restock. So you're always trying to like save it up, save, use it for so long. But I decided that I'm going to use this to use it well, but I'm going to also replace it. And that's now signals to your brain that you can actually replace things, that you are not just going to start keeping things, but you have the capability to actually replace things when they get finished. Like the second thing I started doing was that I started to unclog my space, unclog my environment. I removed the clothes that I've not worn for years, the shirts, the dresses I have not worn for years. I removed them, the things I knew I was going to throw away, because I noticed that I've kept so many things, that the things that I was so scared to throw away because I always felt like I would have need for them. And that is a very terrible sign of, because you're always storing, always keeping. And that's a very bad thing, because when you are always keeping something, you are not going to get things. And somebody told me this 2 years ago when I was in school, that one of my friends told me during a conversation that if you don't get things, if you don't remove the things you already have, if you don't discard the things you already have, you're not going to get more. And that was just a very simple statement, but it stuck up with me even till this point. And I totally understand, because if your space is so clustered, things are everywhere, even the things you don't use, just because you are so scared of throwing them away, you're not going to get more things, and your space will just look so clustered. Now, when I noticed that when I removed the things that were in my space, I started uncluttering my space, I noticed that I now started seeing need for the things I had. If I just knew that, okay, I've thrown away so many things, I just have three more shirts remaining, or I just have two gowns remaining. I saw that, okay, this gown is remaining too. I now knew that this is what I'm going to get, and this is what I'm not going to get. And that will even help you be more frugal, because you already have a priority, you already know what you need and what you don't need. So unclustering my space really helped me in a way whereby I was able to remove this mindset of scarcity. So my brain even felt a lot calmer when I started removing things that were not really necessary and things that I've been holding for so long. Go look into your cupboard now. You will see that there's so many things that you have in that cupboard that you don't even need currently, and that you're not going to even use. But all because you have always had this mindset of trying to save the things you already have. You don't even know that this thing is no longer serving you. So you keep keeping them, it's still there, and you don't even know how to let go of those things. That's why I said I started to unclutter my space and I began to let go of things so new things could come in. The third sign is even the one that most people will find most common, but I think it's one of the most important things if you really want to eliminate your scarcity mindset. Just like every other mindset, scarcity mindset can also be unlearned. I started reading books, started trying to develop my mindset, and I started being around people that were spending the way I want to spend. This may look very tricky, or this may look very vain, but the truth is, if you actually grow up in a home or in a space whereby you didn't get the things you have always wanted, in a space whereby I will call it where they have a certain kind of poverty mentality or scarcity mindset, you really need to leave that space and be around people that are able to spend out of their little. Now, the goal is not to start overspending or buying things that are unnecessary, but if you really want to start on learning that mindset, you really need to be around people that are spending the way you want to spend, that don't have that mindset. Now, let me give you an instance or even a scenario. If you have a friend that you know that she wants things done and she just gets them done, she wants to get this one, and she makes a way. Now let me use a more neutral person, because some people may say like, I don't have enough money, which I really understand. But the truth is, you need to be around people that spend in a way that you want to spend. It can be that they are not, is they get things, they get their skincare done. When their skincare finishes, they replace it without overthinking. They save up to get things that they want, or they even do some guilty pleasures here and there. Your brain will be rewired to actually spend on yourself. But if you keep on being in the space where people are always they're always holding money, they're always saying, oh, don't spend on this thing. Do you know where you're going to get it next? Don't do this, don't do that. This money you're going to spend, do you know? You are not going to break free. I promise you. You are not going to break free, because the level of your mindset is like, depends on your association. If you're around people that spend well, that they don't see doing little things for themselves, like getting their skincare, getting their hair done, they don't see them like guilt, or they don't have guilt, you'll be more inclined to do those things. But trust me, when you're around people that find it so hard to do basic things for themselves, you will still remain stuck, because your mindset is like a very big, because your environment is a very big trigger to this. Remember, you learned this thing from a prolonged process of staying around people that had this mindset. For one way to also unlearn it is for you to stay around people that don't have this mindset. Now, I hope you found this video helpful, and I really hope that this video you I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope that you go on to coming out from that mindset, because trust me, I figured out so late that if you actually want to grow in life, this thing called scarcity mindset is something that we really need to put away, because it's very limiting. It limits how much you even grow. It limits you, and it does not just stop at finance or money alone. It enters into your relationships, enters into every single thing you do, because you're always calculating, you're always overthinking it. I really hope you found this video helpful, and I really hope you do. Please comment, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more educative and wonderful content like this. I love you all, and I'll see you in my next video.